LFTOVRS sent me a pair of their metal suspension frames. Yes, you heard that right, suspension frames. I'm going to try them out today on my Faction plastics, which should be dope. I'm hoping they give me the feel of a solar frame with the fastness and the great grind without the foot pain because of the suspension. Will that happen though? Oh, and if you want to know how they work, I've got a whole video tearing them down. They'll be linked in the corner. But anyway. So I've had a quick roll around in these suspension frames. See if you can guess the 3 issues I have with them so far, just by listening and watching. Issue 1 you should be able to see at any point in this clip, and it does progressively get more obvious throughout this video. Issue 3 is kind of similar, but in a different way. Issue 2, on the other hand, you can only see at certain points throughout my skating in this clip. And I'm serious about this. You should comment what you predict these 3 things are that I've noticed about these frames. Okay, issues is probably the wrong word. 3 things I noticed, okay? First one was that they're clacky. There's definitely a clack to them, which ruined a lot of the suspension frames for me, so that's not great. The other one is noise again. It's creaky. They're creaky, which means they're definitely working, but it's not a nice sound to hear when you're rolling around, you know? The third thing is a good thing, is that they feel fast and like I'm in control. I don't feel like there's loss of responsiveness. They feel super responsive. It's almost like the wheels pushing to the ground makes them more responsive. That could be the rocket wheels though, but I don't know, they feel good. I've got the softest bushings in. I feel like that was a mistake. I think if I put the hardest ones in, these would actually be dope because they feel good, they feel fast. And I mean, it's first impressions, but it feels good. Other than the sound, it feels good. It's especially fast on ramps. The ramps here are pretty sketchy and lame, so I can't really lean into it. But yeah, it's just so much faster and so much more grip, so much big carving feels great. It's super good. They're like really, really good for ramp, and I definitely need to take them to a better ramp. I'm gonna take them to the other one, test them out. Grinds are just as you expect the metal frame too. They sound amazing. They slide. It's honestly a little sticky, especially on that back movement. It's like I was peeling the wax off, but it's just as fun as every other metal frame. The H-block does scare me a little though, because I've missed a couple times already, and it has caught when I've been doing crossovers on the ground, or even when I'm taking a lot of impact. It seems like it catches, something catches on the ground, which is definitely a little scary. But again, I probably shouldn't be riding the softest hardness, but I just dropped into the bank here and it caught. We'll see if I can show it on camera, we'll try, but we'll see if we can see what's happening. Of course it won't happen again on camera, of course. Whatever was clacking I could not recreate, but I wanted to try to show how these work here with these clips. But my camera's got a bit too much motion blur, so you don't really see it all. So props to Lino for showing how these work better. What I do capture here though is how creaky these skates got. They progressively got creakier throughout the day. The squeakiness is driving me insane. I also wanted to see how much harder heel rolls would be with these, and they were definitely harder, but once you're used to it, it was fine. One thing that was noticeably different though was jumping off ramps and stuff. You usually jump off your toe, and these give your toe a little bit of give as you jump, so it can throw you off axis. But again, it takes a few attempts to adjust to it, and you're used to it, and it's fine. But here you can really notice that I'm bottoming out the suspension. It clacks every time I land. With that, I think I've concluded that I should put the harder shock absorber bushings in, because I'm bottoming that out and it's kind of ruining the test. I think I'm going to hurt my feet more before I can feel it out. So we'll try it another day. So here I'm trying to switch over to the harder color. This is from red, the softest, to dark blue, which is purple. It's blue. It's called blue, but it's the hardest one. And I had a little bit of trouble setting it up with the red one, but it's made a lot worse when you have a harder urethane, because it obviously has way less give. So now every time I put a bolt in, you see it's like a little off. It doesn't quite line up, and that means no bolts fit in, which is the problem. There was a little bit of a problem with the red one, but with the blue one, it's like I'm smashing this in with a hammer and it doesn't move. I managed to get this one in by hammering it, but it is not lined up with the thread. This is the age-old, impossible to set up, really frustrating frame nightmare that you get from a lot of different frames in rollerblading, which does kind of suck, and it's making me wonder, like, bro, I'll set these up and I'll never ever want to take these out because this shit's so hard. I haven't even got one done yet. There's 8 to do. I was really hoping I would set these up with some harder bushings and go out and test them in this video, but it's not going to happen because I had a whole lot of issue upgrading the bushing to a harder one. I really lucked out in trying the softer one first, because if I tried any of the others, I would have had a real hard time setting these up. I lost so much time and I didn't even get one in that I was worried I was doing something wrong. So I reached out to LFTOVRS for some tips. They gave me some tips on how to like kind of leverage it and get it in, but there was absolutely no way that bolt was ever going to go in. LFTOVRS then went and tested themselves and kind of realized that there is a little issue there and they're going to have to slightly alter the design. It said something about changing a few millimeters on something, I'm not sure what, but that they're going to replace the parts that people already order and change the design from here out so you can actually fit more of the bushings. Sadly though, by the time I heard that, it was too late because I kind of heard that I was the problem, that I just need to screw these in harder, and that led to me threading one of the bolts for the axles completely threaded here because it would line up and I was screwing it. I got one in, so I was like, yeah, it's just gonna keep screwing them hard. And this one just wouldn't catch, and it's ruined. And the worst part is it's not compatible with other frames. It's slightly longer than like the Solars or any other metal frame. So I don't have another one until I get a replacement. LFTOVRS is sending me a replacement, I think, as far as I know. That's pretty sure. But sadly, that means I can't skate them again until that shows up, and that could be weeks, you know. Test them out though, the ones I got sent, the hardest bushing I could fit in was only the next step up, the yellow. So red's the softest, yellow's a next step up. It was only slightly harder, you know, and even then it was quite hard to set up. The other two options, virtually impossible to get in. Like, I just cannot get them in. And I really think for these to work well, I feel like not super light, you need to have these harder bushings in there. So it's definitely a shame that it couldn't work, and I hope this fix actually works. So this is only like a part 1 first impressions as we get the updated version with the other suspension that I think could make them better. But yeah, the good parts I really liked about it is the rolling around feel is unmatched. It's not only is it super fast, like I would put it to the same degree of if you've ever gone from a raised heel skate to a non-raised heel skate, how you feel like you're falling backwards. It's that kind of feeling, but just from how fast these feel. And that is definitely coming down to the fact that it's a metal frame, and also the wheels also have a metal core in them. Didn't know that at all. So it's like my favorite wheel profile, which is the rocket profile. It's fast, but also sturdy, but it's also a metal core, and that really does give you extra speed. But not only the speed, the kind of handling, the way it felt to turn around, the suspension adds a lot of grip. So there's something to it that's different that makes it really fun. It feels like there's way more grip on the ground and that you can carve better. It feels amazing on ramp. Like you can actually get full momentum out of the ramp. This feels like you have a one-up, like a buff when you're skating ramps. And I honestly think from my experience skating suspension frames, that's the better benefit versus the like shock absorption. It's like an extra grip on the ground. And sadly, my main hope for these frames, they didn't live up to, and that was that I'd get the experience of skating a solar frame, which they did have, plus some extra benefits without the foot pain, but they had the very similar kind of tender foot after skating these, pretty much identical to when I skate the solos. Although I did go a bit harder in these, I did some drops and stuff that I'd never do in solos, so I could have been pushing the bar. But yeah, it had the same kind of effect on my feet that the solar frames had. The thing I can't stand the most though about it, and all suspension frames I've got to try, is that they're so noisy and clacky. Like, I can't tell you how irritated I was. The clackiness isn't too bad with these, and again, the harder bushings could fix that clackiness, but the creakiness on them, holy, I needed headphones to skate that day. Like, I just waxed the cuff of the faction plastics to get rid of the creaky cuff, and this was 10 times worse than that. It was insane. It was driving me insane, dude. I'll be real, and I hope the harder ones could fix that maybe, but it doesn't sound nice, you know. It sounds kind of like, ugh, you know. I would need a lot of benefit from that suspension to make up for that creaky sound. I did not like it. So yeah, overall, definitely not a good first impression, and I would not recommend them at this stage, but once I get to try them out with the harder bushings and with the replacement parts and the updated version of it, I'll be able to be more confidently say that. And if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. But as always, I want to give a massive thank you to my patrons and members for making this video possible. I can't do it without fan funding. Rollerblading is a super small niche, so if you want to support, consider it. But anyway, make sure you go for a skate today, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you out there.